Our next inspirer this morning is a Frenchman who is in San Francisco. He's the founder of eCairn, and their mission is to map the social web. And he's going to talk to us today about why it is important for us to map the social web, to detect, to identify, and to reach out to the tribes in there, and also how we can start to do that. Please give a very warm welcome to Monsieur Dominique Lahaix.
So, to start, I'm going to take you back 10 years ago, so before the tribe and social media existed. And at the time, so when brands wanted to define their market, they basically used two types of methods. So first, they use demographic, and so they would say that people in a certain zip code with certain level of revenue, ethnicity, and so on and so forth, was, one of their market. So they knew about nothing. So you'll see things like, woman, 30, 45, they divorced 2 dogs, and that's a market. Or another way that they had to approach the market and the customer is to use keywords. So they would go and look at people in Google. We're looking for expensive perfume. And that's another way that they were defining the market. And I don't know about you, but that's not very rich. So and people don't like that. So people don't like to be identified as just someone putting the query in Google, expensive perfume, or someone being in a certain demographic. And and it's still the same. So when you look at the Google now, and you try these kind of queries, you still have brands. So social media has gone a long way, but still brands market against keyword and against demography. And I see that on a day-to-day basis. I meet marketing executive, and they come to us and they say, we're looking for millennials, and where can we find millennials? But there is no real tribes for millennials. There are diverse people in this category. So since that time, so we've seen Facebook, we've seen billions of people building profile, starting discussion, and expressing their interest in social media, and connecting one to each other. And this brings a lot of value for brand and for people that want to know the customer, because whereas in the past, people were using demographic information to infer interest, now consumers willingly share the interest, so it's there to grab. And I'd like you to show you this picture. So on this slide, what you've got is a picture of women. And they don't really fit any type of persona, very diverse, so young, not so young, from different background. What they all have in common is they love cosmetics. So all these women are key influencers in cosmetics. Each of them have massive reach. Millions, hundreds of thousands. Whether it's in YouTube, Pinterest, Facebook, but if each of these women have this kind of reach in social media, and they don't really fit any kind of persona, so which is how brands were defining their market. So what has happened with social media is all these conversations, this giant conversation between people, this forms new market. And Cluetrain said, market are conversations, but market are the people behind this conversation. And as I said before, they don't organize along a keyword or along a persona. So what I'd like to do now is to, show you how these tribes are organized. So here what you see is, a massive amount of people. So behind each of these nodes, you have one individual, one influencer. And each line between the individual represents use of content. So because on the web, that's how people share and that's how people connect. So when you take, for example, this person, she's using the content of this other person. It could be a link back, could be a retweet, a direct message in Twitter. And what we see is that there is an organization behind social media, and that's your new market. So if brands still market to keywords and deep code, they market to a market that doesn't exist anymore. The new market is this. And we have been studying tribe for quite some time, and you cannot really predict how tribes are going to form and around what kind of topics. So we've seen tribe around verticals, so beauty, moms. These are music. These are fairly massive tribe in the social web. We see tribe around center of interest. We see tribe around some more heated topic like the Tunisian revolution, like CSR. So you've got massive amount of people, influencer, that group around this kind of domain and that shape what's going to discuss and how other people, the leaves in this tribe are going to react. So this is actually the beauty tribe. So beauty and cosmetic. It's not all a beauty tribe, but it's part of the beauty tribe. And right from the bat, you can see that, it's organized by language. It's mainly organized by language. It's not by country as such. Taking another example, the bird watching tribe is organized by country. So there are significant tribe on bird watching, and the people in the US discussing bird watching and the people in the UK, they don't talk one to each other. So, but in cosmetic, it's different. So here on this map, so the UK people are in blue and the US people are in red. And they talk and they form just one big tribe. What you see, which is very interesting, is that on the French, beauty tribe, it's actually split in two parts. And we don't see that in any other market. In France, you've got a smaller but still very interesting tribe of women who build their cosmetics themselves. So they are no longer talking about product, discussing about the brand. They almost never talk about brand. But what they do is that they buy ingredients and they build their own product and they talk about it and they share it one to each other. They even invent their own language. So I discovered, looking at this tribe, that in the French do-it-yourself beauty tribes, they do something that's called swap in French. So swap is when one do-it-yourself beauty blogger decides to share and send a sample of his production to another one for review and back. So they invent social processes, they invent languages, and they don't mix up with the rest of the tribe, which is more brand-driven. Actually, if you look at the French tribe, so you see three big French biotribes, three big clusters. So beauty and nail art are, very classic. So in each and every market that we have studied, there is a big beauty tribe and there is a big nail art tribe. And very little connection between, these two. And in France specifically, you've got a do-it-yourself and bio tribe, which are, other people and very little connection with the main beauty tribe. So when you see that, what I like also to mention is that within this tribe, different people are different roles. And we talk a lot about influencer marketing these days, but it's more complex than that, because if I write content, so I'm a content creator in YouTube or in a blog, so I have influence because people are going to read my content. But and these people we call maven. And you also have people who don't write content at all, but they connect the rest of the community with the content that they find in the tribe. And these two different influencer, type of influencer, you've got to manage differently whether you want them to broadcast your content or whether you want them to author content for you or develop content for you. So this new universe, new market segment as well, you cannot just jump in and do. So you've got to study them, you've got to listen to them, and you've got to understand the role and the function of the different people. So far, what we have seen brands do in social media is quite interesting, and I think that brands are left with two choices. So the first one, and that was the initial reaction. So when brands saw social media coming, and this was 5 years ago, the initial reaction was, there's something bad that's going to be said about me. So they developed, listening algorithm, and they started to listen to spot negative mention. It's very brand centric to start with, and it's very paranoiac, because when you really look at what people are talking about in these communities, they don't talk much about brand. They talk about experience, and they talk about problems that brand can solve, but the level of mention of brand is pretty low, comparing to what people expect. So they build this kind of, listening center. They call them command center. And Jean-François yesterday said, there's a lot that you can learn by what kind of word people are using. So when you build a command center on the internet, it's something. We see today, these days, that even the people who have built the giant command center, the NSAs, they end up with big reputation problems. So building a command center means you believe that you're going to master the internet. You're going to do that. So the internet has been built to be unbreakable, and the structure of the tribe is nothing that you can actually manage or command. So progressively, so this has been the case for the last 5 years. So mainly brands were still, we want to listen, we want to spot what is talking about us, and we want to command the web. But there is another way, and that's the way that I encourage you to take, is you can influence it. So you cannot command the beauty tribe. Actually, brands are already there. So in these nodes, so you already have brands with blogs, with Twitter accounts. But what you can do is that you can understand it better and you can support it. So, and we see some very nice things done in supporting tribes. We have seen companies in the food, for example, domain, asking organic food blogger to write cookbook with the ingredients that they were selling. So you can put money in the system, you can put ideas in the system, and you can be a participant in the system, and you can influence it. So I think that brands are left with two choices, so command or influence. And I really encourage you to rethink how you see market, so market definition, and take the influencing route. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique. So what we see with all of this, right? The world out there, the chaotic world that Bruno talked about earlier on, you can actually make some sense out of it, right? And I think we've seen a way to start making sense of it, but the importance of doing so, the importance of looking at who are the people out there who actually influence the success or not of our brands and of our customers' brands. Because we're not all customer-facing or consumer-facing brands here. But we've got to be providing the stories for those brands so that they can sell. Because if they don't sell, they don't buy. So all of that is extremely relevant for us. Now,